On this episode, we visit the Sugar House district of Salt Lake City, where new development neglects pedestrians. Then we talk with a store manager about slower streets helping businesses. A bicyclist looks at the need for better education and enforcement in Utah. Finally, we learn about the Active Living Partnership in Louisville, Kentucky. Stay tuned. We're in Salt Lake City talking with Lynn Olson, who's with the Sugar House Community Council. What is the Sugar House Community Council?
Sugar House Community Council and other community councils in Salt Lake are sort of the on-the-ground level of government. We are residents and business people who live or work in this area, and we advise the City Council and Planning Commission on decision-making regarding land use and zoning and other neighborhood issues.
Now, why would this parking lot behind us have been of a concern to the council?
Well, in the past few years, the Community Council participated with other groups, residents and merchants in the Sugar House District to develop a new community master plan. And one of the elements of the master plan that was most important to us was that any development subsequent to this should be pedestrian friendly, oriented to include the residential community around this business district, and also should honor the historic antecedents here. This community was developed in 1854, and there are buildings here that are over 100 years old. We wanted to make sure that that historic character is preserved and honored in any new development. Because it was built so long ago, of course, it was very pedestrian friendly. And so there are many parts of the historic business district that are built right up to the street, lots of windows, lots of pedestrian amenities, and we wanted to make sure that the new development was equally friendly to pedestrians. Unfortunately, many of the developers that are coming into town now to find locations for their chain stores are not all that interested in this idea of new urbanism or pedestrian-friendly development. They know they have a business model that works, and obviously they intend to keep using it. And so it's been a little bit of a struggle to try and persuade some developers that it would be in their best interest, as well as the communities, to honor the wishes of the community in developing these new stores, new offices, and so forth. This is one of those instances in which the retail grocery store did not want to build up to the main street and rather put their store at the back of the lot with the parking in front of it. They did, however, include a lot of amenities that make it a little bit more pedestrian oriented. There's a walkway through the parking lot. They did include this green buffer strip between the sidewalk and the parking lot, which certainly helps. So they did do some things that we're very pleased about. Still, we hope that subsequent development will be a little bit more true to the historic nature of the business district.
And other than hiding your building behind a big parking lot out front, what other things can people do that really doesn't fit in with the historic character? I mean, you build your building up close to the sidewalk, but is that enough?
No, there are many other things. For instance, you can see behind us a building that was built with a cinder block wall. It's not much fun to walk past. There's nothing to look at. We would like businesses to have windows on the street, clear windows that you can see through, doors that open onto the street. So there's something for the pedestrian to look at as he or she walks down the street. And if you look on the north side of the street, the old buildings, there's plenty of that. You really can't go from one intersection to the next without stopping, because there's so much fun stuff to look at in the windows. Unfortunately, on this side of the street, there's very little of that. So most of the pedestrians are on the other side of the street.
And with your new codes coming into place, are there things that the city can do that'll ensure that you get what you want rather than more blank walls and parking lots?
I wish I could answer that. I know that the city is struggling to make the whole city a more walkable community, and they have recently adopted an ordinance to that end. And so many of the things we were talking about, building up to the street, creating a street environment that's entertaining, interesting, and also sort of hugs the pedestrian, makes you feel safe. They are trying to incorporate all of those things into the codes for new development. So I think, everybody's on a learning curve, and maybe it'll be one generation more of developers before we get to the point that the folks that want to build understand the value to them of of making a development pedestrian-friendly, bicycle-oriented, that by embracing the whole community in that respect, they actually are doing themselves a favor.
We're in the Sugar House District of Salt Lake City, talking with Kari Dunn, who's an outlet district manager with Patagonia. What is the city planning on doing with Highland Drive here next to your store?
From what I understand, they're planning on restriping the street as part of a traffic diet program, is what I understand it's called. And what I think is going to happen is going to make the street more friendly to perhaps pedestrians and bicyclists and people who aren't in cars. And it will also force the cars to slow down, which I think is an important issue that we have on this street. And from a business point of view, I'm really excited about that, because I think for cars coming through the area, it will help businesses. It'll help their exposure to the people in the cars. They'll be able to see what the businesses are on the street, perhaps see signs that are placed in the windows and actually be able to read them, or get impressions of what the store's product is, and maybe entice them to come back at another time and come shopping.
So having cars move rapidly is not necessarily good for business then?
I don't think it is. I think it makes it feel unsafe for people who are actually outside their cars. And, you can liken it to, putting a storefront on a freeway. Really the only things that work on freeways are billboards. And most of the storefronts are a little bit more dynamic than simply a billboard. We want to create an environment where people can feel welcome, like they're invited into the building, into the store, to touch and feel the product. And by creating an environment where not only can people feel safe walking in and out, or even driving in and out and feel safe, I think people who are in cars, if everything's slowed down a little bit, everyone is going to reap the rewards of that.
And the crosswalk right outside your store here,
Yep.
is one of the ones with the orange flags.
Yeah.
What's that got to do with your store?
Well, when we moved into the area, we have a certain amount of parking spaces, and every business owner knows that in our world today, spots for cars are necessary, and they're kind of precious. It's precious real estate. So, as a business, we asked our employees to, if they were to drive a car, to perhaps not park in one of our customers' parking spots. So what that has forced them to do is actually have to park across the street. This street in particular, because it's trafficky and the traffic is quite fast, feels a little unsafe. So we've adopted a crosswalk as a store. We adopted the crosswalk to make it more safe for our employees and for our customers who actually do have to cross the street. Feel like they can cross as safely as possible. Still feels a little bit scary sometimes. Maybe we'll ask them to put a stop sign there someday.
And what does the corporation do for those employees that don't drive to work, that perhaps want to bicycle or walk to work?
Right. Well, we definitely encourage that, and little things that we have done as a store. Patagonia as a company always likes to provide showers for their employees in all of our store locations and in our office buildings, so that people who do use alternative forms of transportation, either by foot or bike or pogo stick or however, they can shower up when they get to work. We have an incentive program within our store where employees get rewarded every time they use alternative form of transportation, whether it be a carpool, again using a bike, or running to work, or walking to work, which they all do regularly. We like to reward them and encourage them to do that. It's good for them, and it's also good for the environment, and it kind of helps with our goals of creating a not such a car-only oriented society.
And how is your store able to help out some of the local bicycle organizations and so on?
Yeah.
Can you do anything there?
Oh yeah, well, as a company, we believe really strongly in supporting mostly environmental groups, anybody who is doing grassroots work to make the environment a better place. We have actual programs that support them. So locally here, we have done a little bit of work with the Salt Lake Bicycle Collective. We always want to make sure that there's bike racks and locks available for our customers. And we have a lot of ideas, and we can see a lot of opportunity now that we are in this neighborhood for working collectively with some of the other businesses and the Merchants Association to maybe create events and create incentives for customers to use non-cars. So we haven't really done a ton yet in this location, but we have a lot of good ideas.
We're in Salt Lake City talking with Jason Boltman, who's a local bicycle advocate. What are some of the issues bike advocates are concerned about here?
Well, bicycle advocates here are concerned about the same things as others around the country. We have some severe problems sharing the road with cars and vice versa. And it could be a lot easier. There's a lot of room for improvement. And we're working on that with multiple programs and education campaigns.
And what sort of things do drivers need to do better, and what sort of things do bicyclists need to do better?
Well, I'll start with the bicyclists. Bicyclists need to know how to ride as a vehicle on the road. A lot of people just don't know that they need to ride with traffic, just like a car. They need to signal and they need to obey the traffic laws just like a car. And others know this, but they break those laws because they think it's fun, or they don't want to have to wait at the stoplight, and that's a real problem because it really annoys the motorists, and it doesn't give them any right to treat us the way that they do sometimes, but they do. The motorists, they can just be more careful. I mean, it's the same thing for pedestrians as it is for bicyclists. Motorists, they are easily distracted, and people can die if you aren't paying attention to what you're doing. So cell phones is a big problem. Everybody knows it. I would hate to take away people's freedoms, but I support a law banning cell phone talking in a car, and there's research going on at the university to show that it's not just hands-free, it's talking to somebody remotely is a huge distraction. That's just an example, but the motorists need to just be more attentive while they're driving and consider that other people's lives are in their hands.
Now, what sort of educational campaigns do you have going on that'll get that message out there to people?
Sure. Coming up in 1 month from today is the second annual Josie Johnson Memorial Ride. And this honors Josie was killed last year bicycling up Big Cottonwood Canyon. And it was the third in 3 severe sort of wrongful death incidents when a motorist hit a bicyclist. And we responded with this memorial ride, and we also created the Utah Bicycle Coalition to help get the word out to both bicyclists and motorists on what the law is and how to share the road. It's a big media campaign. We're going to be on TV and radio and in print, and we're going to share some of the things I was talking about before. Bicyclists need to obey the all traffic law. Motorists need to pass us with a safe distance. Minimum of 3 feet is the new law in Utah. And they need to watch at all intersections before turning. Standard stuff, but it just needs to be reiterated across the board. So
You have the education going on, and hopefully a lot of help from the media. What's the role of law enforcement, since these are laws that people are supposed to be obeying?
Sure. The law enforcement issue is really close to my heart. One thing that is lacking here, and I'm sure in many places, is law enforcement against bicyclists. The police have to address, when bicyclists are breaking the law, they have to address that and enforce the law against bicyclists. What that does is it acknowledges bicyclists as legal users of the road. And it also gets people to start obeying the law. I mean, if you want somebody to stop doing something, you make it a law and you enforce it. But the other thing is we're finding that when there's a bicycle car collision, is that sometimes the police are not giving a fair investigation report for the bicyclist. Oh, it's a bicyclist, that's just, that's unlucky and that's too bad, it's an accident. No, they have to be regarded in the same way a motorist would. And there's incidences here where that's not occurring. Some police do a very good job, and I want to acknowledge the Department of Health that's currently overseeing a project training police officers to acknowledge when cars are not being considerate to bicyclists, and when bicyclists aren't being courteous to cars or to the law. And that is overseeing 5 agencies right now, including Salt Lake sheriffs. And it's sort of a pilot project that I hope expands to a larger scope in the state. So police officer training is something that I hope the Utah Bicycle Coalition undertakes as one of its major campaigns for those reasons.
And other than some of these hard work of education and so on, do bicyclists do fun stuff around here?
Believe me, it's all about fun. I sometimes have a stern voice because I was hit by a car last year, and I'm still suffering. It hurts to walk, and I can still ride a bike, so I'm happy. But that's why I say things are close to my heart. It's a life or death matter for me, but we have a lot of fun. Believe me. One of the programs in town is a pedal pass, where there's about 30 businesses in town that offer discounts when people ride their bicycle to the business. Actually, today, a good friend in the bicycle advocacy group is getting married, and tonight they're having an alley cat race, which is just sort of it's a fun little race around town, and you have to do some scavenger stuff. And we have the bicycle collective in town where we take donated bicycles and refurbish them and get them back out in the community. And that's just a really fun project, and just helps build bicycle culture in the city. And that's kind of a way to increase safety for everybody, is to have a lot of people out on bicycles. And when you build that culture and provide education and other fun things, then more people want to join.
We're in Louisville, Kentucky, talking with Nina Walford, who's project manager for Active Louisville. What is Active Louisville?
Active Louisville is a partnership that has a grant from the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, and we're in our 3rd year of evolution, and we are a group that works toward programs, policies, and projects that foster more activity in the built environment. It's an active living by design project, so we work to improve the built environment so that it's more walkable, more bikeable, get people out more, they feel safer, they feel like the sidewalks are intact, they feel the streets are safe. We have a number of specific projects that are bringing us to that end. We do an exercise program here at the Presbyterian Community Center. We have a target neighborhood of Smoketown, Shelby Park, and Phoenix Hill, and we're here in Smoketown right now. At this community center right here, we have activities for adults, older adults, and children. We have a hip-hopper-sized class for kids. We have a workout session with a personal trainer for adults and golden glider exercises for seniors. We have a youth bike repair and education program in the back that's just getting started. One of our big projects is this Hancock corridor right here where we're standing, and we're just beginning to develop it. Our objective is to improve the physical environment so that it's more aesthetic, it's safer, it's the side, all the infrastructure is there for walkability. So we will be trying to improve the signage, we'll be repairing sidewalks, we're going to organize some block watch. We're expecting to get this other grant from Robert Wood Johnson to add security, so there'll be additional police patrols in the evening. We are eager to do this in conjunction with walking clubs that we're starting here out of the Presbyterian Community Center. Those will work in conjunction with the fitness classes that we're already doing. The walkability, the Hancock Corridor is in conjunction with a Hope 6 project, a redevelopment of a housing project that's about a half a mile up the street here. It's called Liberty Green, and they took down an old style housing project, much like the one behind us, and are building a mixed use, mixed income development there, and they're going to be doing all of that with a mind to making it very active. It has pocket parks, a recreation center, wider sidewalks, street furniture. That's all going to be designed around making sure it's an active community. And then our pedestrian corridor here will tie into that and provide a link to a park that's up at this end about a half a mile, and the waterfront park, which is down that way about a half mile and a half really. So it'll be a 2-mile walking path.
And you mentioned safety. What are the concerns about, traffic safety, and then, crime safety, personal safety?
Well, we started our walking clubs earlier this summer, and a small group was getting started, and they went out for a walk one evening. They were out walking between 6 and 7, and a huge fight broke out among a couple. It was just a man and a woman. It was a domestic dispute, and there wasn't any violence to come out of it, but it was quite heated, and the neighborhood sort of got very excited about it, and our walkers did not feel very comfortable about that, and that really put our walking club in the evening on kind of shaky ground because people were wondering, should we really be out there? So we are we're working with a Safe Summer group out of the community center trying to address crime, and by increasing the security along the Hancock corridor, we're hoping to create sort of a safe zone, the eyes on the street kind of philosophy, where if people kind of are focused on walking and the physical activity right in this corridor, we can apply more police presence there and try to make that really safe, rather than trying to clean up this whole area, which would be a bigger goal than we can take on. So our thinking is, if we kind of try to target this one zone, we might be able to make it safer. We have it's pretty good urban infrastructure here in terms of sidewalks and crosswalks and stop signs. We don't have a huge problem with traffic safety. There's a big street up here, Broadway, that will have to be addressed somehow to make sure it's safe to cross. It's a huge divide between the two neighborhoods. In addition, we will be doing some cleanup. There's a number of places that have real cracky sidewalks and uneven textures, and a few places that actually for some reason don't have sidewalks. And then we have a few nuisances, like people park in their driveways and block the sidewalk a lot. So all of that will need cleaning up, but we're hoping to address it in a very grassroots way without a huge amount of money, getting a lot of in-kind help, and hopefully it'll be a real good model for how you can do this in an urban neighborhood. We'll be starting this up in fall, where a young woman is going to be beginning as our coordinator for that project. So come back in 2 years and see how it's doing.
And you have the physical activity side of health. You also have the nutritional side of health. Are you addressing that as well?
We do have a healthy eating grant, and that we got that in June, and we're well underway with that. We have a chef on contract who is doing cooking classes with kids that are just a big hit. The kids love it, and the parents have asked that we do more classes with the parents and the kids, so we're doing that again here at the Presbyterian Community Center. A big piece of that whole grant is a community garden we're doing, which will be right up there. We're having a little trouble getting environmental clearance on that, so we don't have any ground broken yet, but we're hoping to make it a community garden that will also be an outdoor classroom. There's a middle school just up the street here, and they've been wanting to do an outdoor classroom, and this will give them a space outside, hopefully with a gazebo and some boards where they can bring kids outdoors to do general science instruction, nutrition instruction, and not only that, but give them a chance to get their hands dirty in the garden.
And you mentioned you're working on a bike repair shop here at the center. Are you doing other things with bikes around the city?
Yes, I'm also working with we had a Louisville Bicycle Summit back in February that was organized by the city, and since I'm in part of Active Louisville, they asked me to be a part of that, and we did a big community outreach exercise and came up with a plan for what we want Louisville to be in 10 years relative to better, safer biking. And there has been a number of projects already to come out of that, really amazing progress. We've identified some connector streets that need pedestrian and bicycle improvements, and those are underway. We're striping some of the streets downtown because they came up for repaving, so we're already putting stripes down for bike lanes on those streets. We've done one event already on Memorial Day and another one on Labor Day, big hike and bike with we had over 1,000 people at the first one, and so we're hoping for 2,000. My personal role in that is to do a bike audit, and we want to be recognized as a bicycle-friendly community by 2008. So to do that, we have to fill out this bike audit that we do yearly and try to check all the boxes that would make us in line with the top communities for bicycling. And we have done our preliminary run on that and discovered that we have a long way to go for enforcement of bicycle laws and regulations on the street and education of bicyclists and motorists. So that's going to be a big piece that we'll be working on in the next couple of years. We need to get the Department of Motor Vehicles, the Transportation Cabinet, the city all kind of pulling together with the same messages and the same curriculum to help bicyclists and bikers and motorists very much learn the rules of the road and understand how bicyclists and motorists can share the road. There's other things involved with that about programming and promotion and on the bike audit that we're pretty strong in. I think we'll clear those hurdles pretty quickly, but we have some work to do on education and enforcement.
And your Active Living Partnership, when the grant runs out and you look back at what you've done, what will spell success for you?
Well, what would spell success is if we had set up a group here hopefully at the Presbyterian Community Center in conjunction with the middle school that was ready to run with all the work that we've started, and had people regularly coming to use the workout center at the Presbyterian Community Center, and lots of walkers up and down Hancock Corridor, and people using the Shelby Park facilities and the waterfront and the pocket parks at Liberty Green, and develop this we're working on a neighborhood campus theory with the community garden. There's a park there and a school all within 3 blocks. We're kind of trying to create a active living zone in this whole area. If all of those were tied in together and were safe and people were active, that's my dream of what I hope to see someday.
Visit us on the internet at www.pedestrians.org.